Okay, yeah. So I was visiting with my dear friends out in Fremont, and we were going on a little trip together. And as we were out on our trip, the husband was telling me that he'd been feeding this cat, and Patty was not very happy about it. She doesn't like cats. She's very allergic, and very upset. And so he said that he's been feeding this cat, and she said that he could feed it as long as it was outside, and it was only one. And right before they left, before we all left for the trip, he happened to see that a bunch of kittens came up with her. And she was not going to be having any of that. They were destroying her property, and she was sneezing, and it was just a mess. And she was adamant about them going away. So we came back, and I got to meet the cats, the mother cat and the little kittens, and they were just starving to death. They were just nothing but skin and bones, um, terrified of anybody, and it was pretty sad because I had brought some little cupcakes out and was eating a little lemon cupcake on the back porch with her, and these cats came up, and one of the cats just grabbed the lemon cupcake out of my hand. I mean, cats don't like lemon or cupcakes. That's not their thing, but they were so hungry. They actually came up to me and, having had no human contact, and grabbed the cupcake and ate it. So I was trying to convince her to, oh, let's just feed the cats. And she would, like I said, not have any of that, and said that, she was going to be making, disposing of these cats, getting rid of them. And so I, said, please let me, try to find someplace for them. And her husband had called the shelter, and they weren't accepting any cats. I can't remember if it was a Fremont shelter or San Jose shelter or something, but something along the lines of they were full. They weren't accept. It was kitten season. They didn't have any room for any more kittens, and they were a high kill shelter. So we called the rescues that were listed in the you know on Google and or online, and we called 4 or 5 of them, and all of them that we could find um, were disconnected. There was nothing. There was nothing for these animals, as far as a rescue. And we called one of the vets to see if they had any suggestions, and they didn't. And they weren't accepting, obviously, any kittens either. So kind of running out of options and ideas for these poor little guys. And I called Ann and Russ, and they weren't home. So I was feeling a little nervous, and just couldn't leave these pets, these not pets, but these feral cats there. So there was a mother cat and 4 kittens, and my friends, they're dog people, and they had just lost their dog and had this great big dog crate that they had used to transport him, and so I asked for it, and um, tried to catch these cats. And the first one I caught was pretty easy because I grabbed another lemon cupcake, and it came up to me, and I grabbed it, and oh my gosh, scratches all over me, and it was hissing and spitting and having a fit. But I put it into this big dog carrier upside down, and it was climbing the wall. It was a fabric one. It was climbing the walls, and so upset, um, which was not helpful for catching the other ones. But I was able to get some lunch meat and catch some of the other kittens. The mom was the last one we caught. Every time we'd open the top up, the one kitten would jump out, and it was quite the experience. It took probably 2 hours to catch all of the cats. Yes, my arms were a wreck. I don't deal with cats very much. I have pet cats that are, very easy to deal with, but these cats weren't pets. These cats had never been handled and had super sharp claws, and they were trying to bite, and thank God I didn't get bit, but I had scratches all over both of my arms, and my heart was racing so fast it really didn't affect me, pain-wise, but it was it was clear that they were terrified and fighting for their life. So got them in there, caught them all, finally got the mother, and then got a hold of Anne, and she said, if you don't have any other options, bring them. We'll figure out what to do. They have this big heart. So here it is, like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I'm leaving, and it's dark, and all the cats loaded up into the back of my truck, my Sequoia. So they're in an enclosed area. They're not in the wind or anything, and they're howling and hissing, and you could hear them clawing at the crate, terrified, and brought them from Fremont to their new will-be home in Watsonville with Russ and Ann. And I met, June, their daughter there. She came out and helped me get the cats out of my truck. We left them in the crate because she could see how feral they were. And she thought, well, we'll just feed them in there. I'll put a litter box in there and get them accustomed to people and realize this is a good place. So we got them out of the truck. It's dark, and brought them out of the truck and into her home, and started getting them situated. And bless her heart, I could see the look on her face, like, what have I gotten into? But she handled it, and thanked me for bringing them. And I told her I would bring her some cat food and help them get situated. But I left them there for the night, and she took over from there. Russ has always been very active with all of his animals. He's had cats and of course all of his horses, and he rides his motorcycle around. And I've seen him, engage with these cats and try and teach them tricks. And his daughter was doing some cat rescue and help for Project Purr, and had done some rehabbing of some kittens previously and didn't have any left. So that's kind of what made me think of them. And I thought, worst case scenario, these cats will be feral and they'll live on the ranch and they'll catch, mice and gophers and ground squirrels and live happily ever after. But little did I know what Russ had planned for them. As I guess they escaped from their container. I'm not surprised, but because of how they acted with me. But they escaped from their container, but stayed around the home area. And there were some construction people and ranch people around, and they would feed them little bits of food, as well as their regular cat food they would get from Russ and Ann and such on the ranch. But these cats became friendlier and friendlier, and Russ began to teach them tricks, and you'd see them, they were growing, happy, healthy. You'd see them, they still weren't really friendly, and they didn't want to be around a lot of other people, but they started doing a lot of things with Russ. They would come when he called, and which shocked me. I couldn't believe it was the same cat. And you'd see him riding around on his bike or his motorcycle with these cats with him. Or, he had one in particular he named Romy. And this cat would come when he called, and it would ride around with him. It would jump on the horses. It particularly liked his little colt, Eddie, and would get on him. And he would teach him to jump from the horse's back to the fence and over things on the fence and to him from the fence. It was really pretty amazing. I couldn't believe the things this cat would do. I've seen from the beginning from this cat spitting and hissing and clawing and shredding my arms, and to become this cat that would just do tricks and come when you called and accept affection. So he really had a bond he built with this group of cats. So heartwarming. I'm grateful that he was willing to accept it, and it sure taught me a lot about cats as far as what you are capable of doing with them. And I mean, the only cats I've ever seen are my lumps that kind of sleep and eat. So anyway.
Pretty good story, I think.
Is that it?